Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the Win Your podcast. Listen, you know that moment in the night when you're kind of like tired? Well, okay, let's be a little bit more specific. You know how sometimes you get a little groggy or like I don't know what's the right word. Kind of like sleep conscious, sleepy conscious. You know what I mean? Like you just fell asleep and then you kind of like woke up a little bit and then when you woke up, you kind of like you're really groggy. What's that called? I guess you're just like really tired. That's the just like the most basic way I can say it, but like you know that moment when maybe you have to wake up early in the morning and you have to wake up, right? Like you have no choice. You have to get out of bed, right? Otherwise you're gonna like sleep through your alarms or whatnot, or you're just kind of like I don't know, you're not gonna make it through the day if you don't wake up or if you don't like push through. So like I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna call it like you're a little bit like you're awake, but you're like you know that you can like pass out again if you don't push through. Gosh, you're just really tired. I guess that's just the best way to put it, huh? I don't know why I'm trying to like think of a different name for it, but I guess I'm just trying to put it like you're sleep conscious. You know what I mean? It's like like sleepwalking. You know how like you'll sleepwalk, but you'll be unconscious because you're asleep. Well, what's it? I guess the kind of reverse of that is like you're awake but you're like asleep, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like you're you remember everything that you're doing and you know you're doing it, but like you're so tired, you're so sleepy, you're in this like sleep conscious state that you're kind of like trying to push through. But like you know at any given point in time if you like close your eyes or if you give up, you're just going to like succumb to your sleep and just pass out. So, anyways, that's kind of what I was focusing on. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about is like when you're sleep conscious, or like when you're so tired, you're like about to pass out, but you fight through it. I don't know, dude. Anyways, I wanted to talk about that, and I also kind of I thought it would be like a nice little episode if I kind of did it. You know, if I kind of like read you guys like a well, one I wanted to kind of do this like a little more quiet of an episode, maybe do like a little sleepy ASMR type of vibe, and then I also wanted to do like a like read you guys bedtime stories for some reason, I don't know, but not just any bedtime stories. I was thinking about looking up for like the strangest news, strangest headline news, and then see where it goes from there. That's all I could come up with for today. So I don't know. I thought it was a I thought it was a pretty basic or funny idea. Anyways, that's what we're talking about today. When you're sleep conscious and some wacky news stories. So buckle up and get ready to go to sleep to these bedtime stories. Okay. Um well, now before I get started with these news stories, I just want to make it perfectly clear that these are public news stories, okay? I'm not revealing any information that's not already out there. This isn't like the world's biggest podcast. I just want to make it perfectly clear that this is all public information and you can figure it out, or like you can find this out there on the internet. So like I'm not exposing anything or like saying anything crazy. Anyways, all right, this one is titled "A Radioactive Fountain of Youth Stands in This Florida City, but is it safe to drink?" What? So apparently there's a radioactive fountain of youth, and they're asking if it's safe to drink. Like that, if it's radioactive, I don't think it's safe to drink. But this is so ridiculous. If you can't tell, I'm reading Florida stories. It's like Strange Florida. What the? That's actually a pretty funny idea. Is that like you find the fountain of youth, but it's radioactive. So it's like, does the radio? What's it called? If you drink from it, you're like very youthful, but it's radioactive. So it's kind of like killing you at the same time. So which one? Which one is it? You know what I mean? If it's radioactive, are you going to die from the radiation killing you? Or are you going to stay youthful because you just drank from the fountain of youth? That's actually a pretty good paradox, sort of. Like, are you going to stay youthful and live? Or are you going to, what kind of trumps what? I think, personally, I think the radiation is a lot more powerful than like the fountain of youth. So if you drink from the fountain of youth, but it's radioactive, then yeah, sucks to suck. But I guess it's not as complicated as I thought. I thought it'd be a little bit more complicated. It's actually just like, I honestly have no idea why this. And if you happen to look up this picture of this Florida news story, it looks like the most basic tap water, like hose faucet in the world, and there's no way there's any fountain of youth to it. I mean, this is just a ridiculous story. So anyways, we're going to move on past it, and we're going to read this other one. All right. Florida women accused of street racing twice the speed limit with children in car. Dude, that is wild, but that's also like just a regular day in the Fast and Furious franchise, you know what I mean? I think it was like that. I think they recently did that for a Fast and Furious movie where it's like they were racing around with like a kid in the car, and it's like they're going like 200 miles per hour or something. Or what was the one with the baby on the plane? I'm just trying to remember like the Fast and Furious movies at this point. I think it was like the eighth one, where it's like the yes. I'm trying to, dude. These movies, the Fast and Furious franchise is like so bizarre. So I think it's like the eighth one where like the baby's up in a plane, and they have to get what's his name? The Jason Statham. He has to get up in the plane. He has to save the baby. I don't know why I thought about this reading this story, but these Florida women raced each other twice the speed limit with children in their car. It happened on some sort of college road. I mean, the women very well could be college students, but they're both facing charges of child neglect and highway racing. Well, you see, now this isn't good. But I completely understand. It's very reckless what they were going for here. I would just wonder, like, how much money was on the line. Like, what were they racing for? They got to be racing for something. So the speed limit is 45 miles per hour. So they were going, like, at 90. Oh, my bad, 93. What? Okay, so one of them is like, no way. So one of these women is like 22 years old, and she had a 15-year-old in the car. And then another woman was 22, and she had an 8-month-old in the car seat. So I don't know, dude. Who's more in the wrong? I think the woman with the 8-month-old in the car is more in the wrong than the one with the 15-year-old. Because the 15-year-old, you know what I mean? They're kind of like old enough to kind of understand what's happening. Maybe it was like a little friendly race, little competition. You know what I mean? Like, we're just gonna speed. We're just gonna race each other for fun. They're both the same age. They're both young. And they're just kind of like, hey, I'll race you to the next light, or, I'll race you down the highway, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then they just got unlucky and they got pulled over by a cop, you know what I'm saying? That sucks. That honestly sucks. That's a bummer. I mean, obviously they were endangering those children's lives, but, I can understand, like, trying to have like a little bit of fun, I guess. That's not to say that like it's the best way to do it is like going 90 down the highway, but I don't know. I feel like the one with the 15-year-old, like maybe the girl was like her sister or whoever. I don't know, but the 8-month-old, like, that's wild. That's crazy to go that fast with the baby in the car. Okay. Let's see what else is there. Okay, this one's also about like street racing. This Florida city is trying to bring in street racers. Here's what it looks like. City of Gearheads. I have no idea what they're trying to convey with this one. They're trying to bring them in. I don't know if that means like they're trying to arrest them all, or yeah, they're trying to get rid of street racing because they just passed a new state legislature they passed a new law to help go against people who are doing it. Oh, but they're opening a automobile theme park. So if you're a street racer, this could be your outlet. This could be your place. I don't know. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. They're trying to... So essentially, they passed a new law to stop street racers, or like to kind of deter people from street racing out in the open, whereas they're also opening this like automobile spot that allows people to like do donuts and like all kinds of like car tricks and whatnot. It's like they're trying to bring street racers to do it like in a controlled area that they can like kind of explore and have fun without hurting anybody, but they're also like keeps them from cracking down on street racing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't street race out in the regular street. You do it in this safe space, this automobile theme park, so to speak. And you can kind of go wild in there, I guess. I don't know. That's exactly what it is. Okay, here's another one. I think this will be the last one from the... Oh, what? Okay. Strange green liquid leaks from broken pipe at Miami International Airport. Dude, this is just like that episode of SpongeBob where they're talking about the hash slinging slasher, and then all of a sudden Squidward's looking at the walls and he's like, and then the walls will ooze green slime, and then he just kind of looks at it and is like, oh no, they always do that. But instead, this is at an airport. Green liquid leaks from broken pipe at Miami International Airport. Now, this isn't good. It's like all over the floor. This is like some What the? It kind of looks like Ecto Cooler. You know, like that Ghostbuster drink or whatnot, like that green, like kind of like tropical cooler that they always do for what's it called? I think I explained it perfectly well. It's just like green juice that they promotional juice that they sold for like Ghostbusters or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? The ectoplasm or whatever, or kind of like the ooze from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know what I'm talking about? So a broken pipe happened around 9 a.m. and it started leaking this green ooze. And then they were like, "What is this? Is it hazardous?" They were like, "We have to investigate it." And then they figured it out. It was like, it's not hazardous, so we can clean it up with ease. You know what I mean? And then they cleaned it within 90 minutes, but they couldn't tell what the liquid was. And then they were able to investigate even further, and they were like, yeah, it's just water from the air conditioning system. But the water is dyed green so that the leaks can be traced back to their source, and that the leak had no impact on the flights going in or out of the airport. So it just goes to show that our air conditioning is definitely working hard this summer. It's definitely working hard. That's pretty interesting. I mean, not very interesting, but like at a first glance, you know what I mean? They make it seem like a big deal. I didn't know that they dyed. I had no idea that they dyed their air conditioner water green, so that way they can figure out like, oh, that's where it came from. That's a pretty smart idea. Oh boy. Okay. This next one has to deal with murder. All right, so buckle up and get in your seatbelt because we're going for a ride on this one. 8 attorneys later, Florida woman accused of letting boyfriend die in suitcase must represent herself. Just this headline alone. Just this headline alone. There's so much to unpack here. Okay. 8 attorneys later. Let's start with that. 8 attorneys later. You know how difficult it is to just like, I mean, obviously, you know, first attorney, sure. You know what I mean? Things don't work out. Maybe she was, I don't know if she's like, she was given the lawyer to defend her or whatever. I don't know what her situation is, but right now she's just like, first one, maybe it doesn't work out. Second one, there's usually like, you know what, I'll give it like a 3 attorney limit. You know what I mean? First one doesn't work out. All right, we'll go to the second one. Second one doesn't work out. All right, fine. Third attorney, you have to make it work. Okay, you have to figure out like, okay, how do we make this at all possible? How do we, you know what I mean? How do you and I make this a-okay? And I mean, I just can't imagine 8 attorneys later. So she had to fire 7. No. 8. She had to meet up with 8 of these people, and she had to try to get them all to join her side, and none of them were with her. You know how messed up that is? Like nobody could help this woman. You know what I mean? She needs like OJ's team in order to win this trial. So, Florida woman accused of letting boyfriend die in suitcase. All right, so he has to fit into a suitcase, and she just let him die in that suitcase? I don't know. I don't get it. There's more to the story. I'm just reading the headline right now, and then she has to represent herself after she blew through all of her attorneys. Okay. let's dig a little deeper into this. All right, so this woman faces second-degree murder charges. Okay. She was accused of zipping a man, presumably her boyfriend, into a suitcase, and now she has to represent herself in court after she forfeited her right to a court-appointed attorney due to her behavior. Okay, so it's a behavioral problem and not necessarily what's it called? It's not a legal issue. Like, it's not like they didn't try to help her out. It's like, it's just her behavior is so erratic that none of the attorneys, I guess, want to help her. I don't know. She has lost she forfeited the right to the court-appointed attorney. Now, that's not always a negative thing, okay? Forfeiting the court-appointed attorney may be just like her leverage of like, because if they appoint it to you, right, the court-appointed attorney, they're not always like the best, right? Like they just get whoever they can. They don't really get like the best of the best. So she probably thought that she had a better chance finding her own person or whatnot. But this is 8 attorneys later. So the records basically show that like due to her behavior, she rejected or she refused the court appointed attorney that the judge gave her. Now this woman was arrested in 2020 following the death of her boyfriend, and she is accused of leaving the man to die of asphyxiation in the zipped suitcase for up to 11 hours. And like, he was screaming for her. He was basically like, hey, let me out. She left him in there to die. And he ran out of air. And then that was it. Now, her latest counsel or attorney was a woman, and she was granted a motion to withdraw as counsel on Friday. So this Friday. Isn't that nuts? So a crime that was a supposed crime, alleged crime, that took place in 2020, 4 years later, and she's like on her 8th attorney, and that attorney finally was given the motion to withdraw as her counsel. And the number one reason why the latest attorney and all of her other 7 attorneys left her were because of irreconcilable differences. So I guess nobody could get on board with her, or like they're just so I'm trying to give this woman the benefit of the doubt here. 8 attorneys, and all of them withdrew for irreconcilable differences. I guess they're all going for. Now let's try to be fair here. Possibly, maybe, what they're trying to do is trying to get her to settle or like to cut a deal, where it's like she admits to the crime basically, and she's not having it. She's basically like, no, I didn't kill him, or like I didn't do that, so I'm not going to give in. Like, I want to fight this thing, and I guess none of the attorneys want to fight this. You know what I mean? That's the only reason I can think of where it's like, where it's kind of like justified or okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's probably like, I didn't do it. I'm not going to give in to this madness. So I'm not gonna give up. And then the attorneys are like, listen, they have all this evidence against you. I don't know what evidence they have. I haven't read the full article, but they're kind of like, yeah, you're going to jail, like whether you think you are or not. So like, let's try to cut a deal, or like, let's try to figure out how to, lighten the sentence at least. And she's just kind of like basically saying no. That, or she's just like completely off the wall, going nuts, and she's just basically saying like, no, I'm not doing that. Or she's just like, she just can't work with anybody. So they say that it was irreconcilable differences and the withdrawal motions granted with instances of the woman's alleged antagonism, hostility, and attacks on the professionalism of her attorneys noted in Friday's court minutes. Damn. Attacks on the professionalism. So I guess she's basically just like not happy with who's representing her. This is pretty interesting. I mean, it's wrong, but it's kind of like 8 attorneys. She just doesn't get it, I guess. Like maybe she wants it to be this way. Like representing herself, she's gonna be. Oh my gosh, she has to be out of her mind. Anyways, okay, so the lady's forfeiture to a court-appointed attorney was spelled out as a judicial response that adapts the course of the legal proceedings to the defendant's choice to engage in misconduct that undermines the legitimate exercise of the right to counsel, with the judge clarifying that her attorneys were largely required to withdraw due to her behavior toward them. So, ultimately, this lady just cannot. Nobody can work with this woman. She's just constantly antagonizing her lawyers and pushing against them and being hostile against them, even during court minutes. So they're literally in front of the judge and she's literally like undermining her attorneys. That's brutal. That's tough. And it's because of that behavior towards her attorney that they're all kind of like fed up with her. It's like, how can I equate it to something? It's like those therapists. You ever watch that movie Good Will Hunting? Spoilers for Good Will Hunting. Great movie. But like, it's like when all of those therapists are trying to like, quote unquote, help Will. And they all like give up on him because he's like messing with them, or they don't care about him, or like they don't really they don't dive in with him. You know what I'm saying? And then that one therapist comes along and they get along and he doesn't give up on him, essentially. Like he keeps with it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas that's kind of like what's happening here with these attorneys. It's like they're all trying to help per se, but she keeps on like pushing them away or like antagonizing them, being like, oh, well, you suck at your job, or I need a new lawyer because she's stupid, or blah, 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 right? Like, that's kind of what I'm getting from this. So, okay, here we go. Examples of this behavior include her alleged attempts to contact an attorney as much as 10 times per day, being difficult to work with in that she took non-viable legal positions, walking out of multiple meetings, lobbing derogatory statements, and at one point accusing her attorney of using a pretend judge to oversee them. Okay, that is nuts. So then the woman called Orange County deputies to an apartment along France Lane to report that this is the night of the or the day that she called the police and said that what I was just reading about the Orange County deputies was when the woman made the call about her boyfriend that was dead, and that was the arrest affidavit. So this is all kind of like building up from the case. So she told investigators that she and her boyfriend were drinking wine, painting, and assembling a puzzle the night before, claiming that she had agreed it would be funny if the two played hide and seek. Boone said the game ended with Torres zipped. Oh, didn't mean to say names, but whatever. This is all public. with her boyfriend zipped in his suitcase and her asleep upstairs, the affidavit states. So it was an accidental death. So she's basically saying that, like, we were drinking, we were having some wine, I was drunk. We thought it might be funny to play hide and seek. I went upstairs, but I fell asleep, and he was downstairs, and he zipped himself up in a suitcase, and that's how he died, 11 hours later or however long. After allowing investigators to search her phone, she drove herself to the sheriff's office the next day for a follow-up interview, during which she was shown one of two noteworthy videos found on the device. Oh my gosh. So the video shows the suitcase facing down and moving as her boyfriend pushed around in an attempt to escape, and that her boyfriend could be heard repeatedly calling out to her, and she laughed and taunted him. Dude, oh my gosh, that is so creepy. That's pretty evil. Wow. This is getting pretty dark here, but essentially in the tape, or like in the they're quoting, they're putting some quotes from the video. So from the video quotes, they go, this is what the girl said. The girl who's on trial, this is what she said. She said, "For everything you've done to me, you stupid," and there's more. Her boyfriend was saying, "I can't breathe." And then she said, "Yeah, that's what you do when you choke me." Oh, no. Oh, this is awful. This is a mix of everything. It's a domestic abuse and like a revenge, kind of a murder. Dude, this is so dark. But I feel like, dude, they have like mugshots of the woman and her boyfriend, sort of. And dude, the boyfriend looks so creepy. He looks like he has no eyes. Like his eyes are pitch black. Very, very odd. Very, very disturbing, I might say. So then they play her the videos that are on her phone, and then she's kind of like, she doesn't want to watch them anymore. And she says, like, it looks bad, but I didn't leave him in the suitcase. So then the case was set for a trial in a 2-week period beginning in 2024. The case is now set for a trial in a 2-week period beginning in October and will not be continued for any reason except for extraordinarily good cause, the judge ruled Friday. Dude, that was nuts. That's a pretty wild story. I wish you could see this. The boyfriend's eyes. It's pretty creepy. Dang. This is a sad story, man. You hate to see it, but it's not like this. Usually when you like, when you think of like, I don't know, murder, you're just kind of like, oh, that murderer is like the bad guy, she's evil. Like, all right, in this situation, yeah, it's awful, okay? They're still a murderer, they still murdered. But like, now given the full context, like if I just read the headline, okay, like I did earlier, yeah, there's absolutely no way on earth that that I would think like she's in any way, shape, or form like a good person, or like, I mean, I still don't think that. You know what I mean? This is a pretty crazy crime here. But now, given the full context of it, it's like I can infer, oh, she was abused by her boyfriend, and then she was pushed to the edge, and then she finally, somehow got him into a suitcase and got him to, Damn. That's a sad one. That's a very difficult one. Let's go back. You know what? Why don't we go back to those two ladies racing with the kids in the car? Whew. All right. Well, I thought we'd do like a more of like a of like a mellow bedtime story kind of a vibe tonight or today for this episode. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I'm pretty tired. And that's kind of what I was trying to talk about at the beginning is like when you're sleep conscious, but like at any given time you can like pass out, you know what I mean? You know you could, right? Like you're awake, but you know in a heartbeat, if you close your eyes and give yourself the opportunity, you'll pass out. You'll just like knock out, you know what I mean? And I'm not talking about like, oh, you have to scroll on your phone for a little bit and like tire yourself out. No, I mean like you'll put the phone down and you'll just automatically pass out. Anyways, that's it for today's episode, guys. I mean, we did like Radioactive Fountain of Youth, two ladies were race car driving with kids in the car, and then finally, a woman blew through 8 attorneys, and now she's gonna face the music in October. It's gonna be rough, but hey, you gotta pay the piper, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.